Good morning. Welcome to the 2025 PhD commencement ceremony for the College of Engineering. I'm Mark Asta, Berkeley Engineering's Executive Associate Dean. Before we begin this event, I would like to highlight the ways we can ensure that everyone gathered here for this special occasion can fully enjoy the program. To begin, we request that you please stay in your seats and keep the aisles clear. And please watch your step. As with every official university event, time, place, and manner policies apply. We request that you refrain from actions that disrupt the celebratory event or prevent the commencement speakers from being seen or heard. Individuals who disrupt this official university activity, your graduation ceremony, may be asked to leave the event and may be subject to additional actions. Thank you for your partnership in helping to celebrate our students as they so richly deserve. I'm pleased to introduce my colleague, Professor Rebecca Abergel, Associate Dean for Inclusive Excellence, and the Chair of the Engineering Faculty. She will be serving as our Faculty Marshal for this ceremony.
Good morning. So I'm Associate Dean Rebecca Abergel, and it is such an honor to represent the Berkeley Engineering faculty and serve as your faculty marshal for today's celebration. With that, I want to welcome you to the College of Engineering commencement ceremony honoring the class of 2025 doctoral candidates. And let me assure you, we are all delighted to have you here to share this special day. As we gather together today, the College of Engineering would like to acknowledge that UC Berkeley sits on the territory of Ho-Chinn, the ancestral and unceded land of the Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people, and that includes this space at Zellerbach Hall. Ever since the University of California was founded in 1868, Berkeley faculty, students, and staff have benefited from this land, as we have. This remarkable place continues to be of great importance to the Ohlone and other indigenous people who stewarded this land for countless generations. They include the Mawigma Ohlone tribe, the Ohlone Indian tribe, and the Confederated villages of Lishan. As we honor the students who have worked so hard for this moment in their lives, we also recognize the Ohlone people and other indigenous groups who are alive and flourishing members of the Berkeley and broader Bay Area communities. As you graduate from Berkeley Engineering, we hope you take inspiration from how Native people steward this land by becoming strong stewards of a just society. It is a great privilege for us to stand here today, and we thank you all for coming. Today's ceremony is being webcast. If you would like to share the address with family and friends, it is engineering.berkeley.edu/BEgrad. And to everyone who has already tuned in, welcome. For those joining us in person, live event captioning in English, Spanish, and Mandarin is accessible via the QR code on the last page of the printed program. To begin the ceremony, we have invited the student a cappella group, Drowned to Scale, to sing the national anthem. Please stand as you are able.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
This morning's commencement celebration is devoted entirely to our doctoral degree candidates. Here today are more than 200 exceptional individuals who have earned a doctoral degree from Berkeley Engineering. UC Berkeley is recognized as a world leader in graduate education, with more top-ranked graduate programs than any other university in the world. The programs in Berkeley Engineering are no exception. And that says good things about our faculty, but it really says wonderful things about you all. Each one of you deserves to be so proud of your accomplishments. We have a great program planned this morning, and we ask that everyone please stay for the entire event out of respect for all our graduates. To offer the first of what will be many congratulations to our graduates, I am pleased to present Sujay King Liu, Dean of the College of Engineering. Please welcome Dean Liu.
Good morning, graduates. On behalf of all of the esteemed faculty here in the College of Engineering, I extend a warm welcome to you and your family and friends to the Berkeley Engineering Doctoral Ceremony, Commencement Ceremony. The path to the doctorate has many highs and lows. The fact that you are here today means that you have successfully navigated a rigorous course of study and completed original research to advance knowledge and the state of the art in your field of specialty. We are delighted to celebrate your achievement here today. At Berkeley, you've also had the opportunity to work with people from various backgrounds and perspectives. You've learned to be open to new ideas and to seek out different viewpoints in order to gain a better understanding and to broaden your own perspective. As graduates of the top public school of engineering in the world, and as global citizens, I hope you will go forward with a growth mindset, seeking new knowledge and building new relationships inclusively as you innovate new solutions for the benefit of humanity. This summer, I will be taking on a new role as president of the National Academy of Engineering in Washington, D.C. So, in a sense, I am graduating together with you from Berkeley, embarking on the next stage of my own career. The knowledge and skills that we've gained here at Berkeley do not guarantee a smooth journey ahead, but they do provide us with the ability to continually learn and adapt in navigating the inevitable challenges and opportunities that will come. And we should always remember that we will be forever a part of the Berkeley community, which consists of people from across the country and around the world. With them, we can find camaraderie and strength for our journey ahead. I'm optimistic that our future is bright because I know that we will all go forth together as agents of positive change to shape a better future for all. Congratulations, and go Bears! I am now delighted to introduce our PhD student commencement speaker, Numi Sveinsson-Sapero, who is receiving his PhD in mechanical engineering. Numi was born in Denmark and raised in Iceland. These countries regularly top the world happiness rankings, so we're especially happy that he decided to study at Berkeley. When he was in grade school, he and his family spent 3 years in Miami, Florida, a time he looks back on with pride because of how he overcame feelings of isolation to become proficient in English after just 1 year. He continued his education in Iceland, earning his bachelor's degree from the University of Iceland with the highest GPA in mechanical engineering since the program's founding. He also had the honor of speaking at the University of Iceland's bachelor's graduation ceremony. That means he comes to us today as a veteran commencement speaker who knows how to send off all of his fellow graduates as they launch into the next stage of their lives. Now, Numi spent a summer at Stanford University and fell in love with the Bay Area at that time. He says that he dreamed about coming to Berkeley, which is especially meaningful because he was at Stanford. He transferred into Berkeley's PhD program in mechanical engineering, focusing on biomechanics with minors in machine learning and computational methods. He is developing digital twin technology for personalized cardiovascular healthcare, which is something he will be pursuing further as a postdoc at the University of Texas, Austin. I look forward to hearing more from Numi today. Please join me in welcoming our 2025 PhD student commencement speaker, Numi Sveinsson-Sapero.
Thank you for those warm, warm words. Good morning, everyone. I'm truly honored to stand before you today. I come from Reykjavik, Iceland, a small city in a small country with more sheep than people, where the weather can't decide between rain or wind, so it generously gives you both. Today, like all of you, I celebrate a journey that has been nothing short of extraordinary. The PhD class of 2025 is not just any class. We are a class that has persevered, innovated, and thrived through some of the most challenging times in modern history. I started my PhD in fall 2020, in the midst of a global pandemic. Many of you remember what that was like. Empty labs, silent corridors, Zoom calls that tried and usually failed to replace real human connection. Research became a solo endeavor. Learning felt distant, but we adapted and found ways to make it work. But then, something incredible happened. As the world slowly reopened, so did our campus, and suddenly Berkeley transformed. Lab meetings, spontaneous run-ins on Sproul Plaza, hikes in the Berkeley Hills, all of which reminded me why I came here in the first place. It wasn't just about research, equations, or experiments. It was about being part of something bigger. It was about a community that fosters curiosity, collaboration, and yes, even a little bit of chaos. Berkeley Engineering has long stood for innovation, for breaking barriers, and for asking the questions others are afraid to ask. But today, our commitment to academic freedom and to science itself is being tested. Research, particularly in areas that challenge the status quo, whether it's climate change, inequality, or the ethical use of technology, faces growing political and ideological attacks. Universities, as institutions of knowledge, are under siege by those who fear progress, who wish to dictate what can and cannot be studied. But we, as Berkeley engineers, know that truth matters, that facts matter, and that pursuing knowledge that serves a duty to society matters. As PhD students, we understand that real innovation takes time, persistence, and a willingness to embrace failure. We have spent years revising our work and adjusting experiments until they finally worked. And sometimes, let's admit it, they never did. And through it all, we have learned that engineering is not just about equations and algorithms. It is about impact. It is about making life better for people, for communities, for the planet. But let's be clear, the challenges we face are immense. Climate change is not a distant threat. It is here, now, affecting millions around the world. Inequality in access to resources, education, and opportunity worsens by the day. And the development and use of technology to harm, displace, or undermine human rights is unfolding before our eyes in places like Gaza. The responsibility to address these problems falls on all of us. We are not just problem solvers, we are problem identifiers, innovators, and advocates for a better future. We must ensure that our solutions are not only technically sound, but also ethically responsible and accessible to all. Sure, we love efficiency, but let's ask, efficiency for whom? As we move forward, I urge us all to remember what truly matters. Yes, careers will take shape, grants will be awarded, patents will be filed, but life is more than that. It's in friendships, family, community, small acts of kindness, and in the generosity in choosing to improve the world. And yes, it's in the mistakes too. The forgotten units, the code that ran for 12 hours and gave an error, the 6-month detour that taught us something we didn't know we needed, or maybe it didn't teach us anything. Let's not take ourselves too seriously. We're doctors now, just not the kind people should call in an emergency. So today, as we celebrate our achievements, let's also commit to something greater, to using our skills, our knowledge, and our privilege as Berkeley engineering PhDs to create a better world. Let's remember that our degrees are not just symbols of what we have learned, but tools for what we have yet to build. Now go forth, build boldly, debug confidently, and never forget, if your experiment fails, you can always call it preliminary data. Congratulations, PhD class of 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, Numi, for those inspiring words of advice, and we wish you continued success as you move to Texas. It is now my distinct privilege to introduce our 2025 PhD commencement keynote speaker, John Schulman, a UC Berkeley alum whose pioneering advances in deep reinforcement learning have reshaped the field of artificial intelligence. John traces his interest in science and math to a childhood full of science documentaries that his father recorded for him. His love of science fiction and BattleBots further nurtured his interest in physics, electronics, and mechanical engineering. He studied physics at Caltech before coming to Berkeley for his graduate studies. In an interview, he recalled an enchanting encounter with several deer, including some fawns, during an early morning run up Cyclotron Road toward Berkeley Lab. Maybe we should thank our local DEER for helping to recruit John to UC Berkeley. Once here, John dabbled in neuroscience before switching to the Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Sciences, where he ended up in the lab of Professor Peter Abil to work on surgical and personal robotics. John has described this transition as moving from understanding the human mind to learning how to build artificial minds. It wasn't long before his research interests evolved to deep reinforcement learning, a field he helped to pioneer, making foundational contributions to large language models and robotics. His reinforcement learning algorithms are still the most widely used to date for training modern chatbots, self-learning robots, and more. Shortly before graduating, John co-founded OpenAI, going on to lead the creation of ChatGPT, an AI model that has been nothing short of transformative since it burst onto the scene in 2022. Analysts estimate that ChatGPT has reached 100 million monthly users in 2 months, which is a dizzying adoption rate that surpassed popular platforms like TikTok and Instagram. John has since left OpenAI to co-found Thinking Machines Lab, an AI research and product company that aims to make AI systems more widely understood, customizable, and generally capable. They do this by sharing their code and best practices openly and designing systems that work collaboratively with humans. For his achievements, UC Berkeley honored him with the 2025 Mark Bingham Award for Excellence in Achievement by a Young Alumni. Please join me in welcoming John Schulman, our 2025 PhD commencement keynote speaker.
Thanks for the introduction, and it's a huge honor to be here. Congratulations, you've just gotten a degree certifying you as an expert. You've spent years building deep knowledge in your field, but there's something strange about expertise. The more you know, the less remarkable your own knowledge seems to you. I'm going to share some stories from my own career where things that seemed obvious to me ended up being important, from my time as a PhD student to creating ChatGPT. And then I'll talk about how AI is changing the nature of expertise and what kind of knowledge is actually valuable now. Let me start with a story from my PhD days. I was doing an internship at DeepMind in early 2015. I dabbled in a number of projects during the internship, but as it drew to a close, I didn't have any substantial accomplishments to share with the company or the outside world. I had scheduled a video call with my advisor, Peter Abil. While catching up, I mentioned that I had recently worked out a mechanical way to calculate gradients of objectives that were formed from a mix of deterministic operations and random sampling. Many papers did this kind of calculations, but they often explained it in a convoluted way. Peter was excited about this idea and encouraged me to write a paper about it and submit it to a conference in a few weeks. I initially disagreed and thought it was too simple and obvious, but I ended up joining with a couple of co-authors from DeepMind who had been working on similar ideas, and we wrote a paper. The paper was accepted to the conference and generally well received, and it ended up being a good bookend to my thesis, which was about policy gradient methods, and it gave me a concrete result to show for the internship. Later, at the end of my first year at OpenAI, I'd agreed to give a talk at the Deep Reinforcement Learning workshop at NeurIPS, the big machine learning conference. As usual, I severely procrastinated on putting together a talk. I didn't have any new research results that were ready to share, and I didn't want to repeat a talk that I'd given a year earlier. When the talk was a few days away, Peter suggested, why don't you just talk about how to get deep reinforcement learning to work? You can call it nuts and bolts of deep RL. I liked this idea and started putting together the talk. It included some advice on what diagnostics to print out from your code and how to tune hyperparameters, how to start with an easy version of your problem and work your way up to the harder version. None of it felt particularly profound, but this talk ended up being a huge hit. Lots of people watched it and read the slides, and to the present day, people approach me in the Bay Area and tell me they recognize me from watching this video, which they found helpful. It turns out all of this obvious stuff about debugging and hyperparameters was what people wanted to know, not the kind of novel results that make for a well-reviewed paper. 5 years later, I had wrapped up my previous project on building a question answering system that combined language models and web browsing, and I was trying to figure out what direction to go in next. I was talking to my fiancée, now wife, Avery, about it, and she suggested making a more conversational system, a chatbot. I liked this idea and got together a few colleagues to have a little hackathon on chat, where we took OpenAI's existing models and prompted them to be better at chat. They were actually pretty good at writing help and general advice, but they had some issues. If you asked them about anything they didn't know, they'd just make something up. They also sometimes claimed to take actions in the world, like sending an email or accessing a database, or they claimed to be a human being. So they had a pretty poor understanding of their capabilities and what they were. These all seem to me like problems that could be solved straightforwardly by collecting the right kind of training data and using supervised learning and reinforcement learning from human feedback, which were the techniques that we'd been using for several preceding projects. Chatbots weren't a new idea at all, but lots of people had the wrong ideas about what kind of product would be successful. A few months before the ChatGPT release, I was in a meeting with an executive from another company who'd built other widely used chatbot products. He told us that no one wanted to talk to a computer unless it was entertaining, and edgy humor was key to the success of one of his earlier products. I knew, based on playing with LLMs, that they could be quite useful for writing, coding, and knowledge-seeking tasks, and they didn't need entertainment value to draw people in. So ChatGPT ended up being a huge success, but nothing about it seemed profound at the time. It all followed logically from what I'd done previously and my sense of what was possible in the near future. So that obvious idea to build a chatbot focused on usefulness with decent self-knowledge became ChatGPT. And now, ironically, AI tools like ChatGPT are changing the very nature of expertise and what kind of expertise is valuable. The language models have read all the websites and read all the books. Knowing textbook knowledge, what they teach you in courses, is table stakes now. What's left? It's actually hard to confidently predict what kind of expertise will be most useful. Certainly, being good at using AI in whatever field you're in is going to be important. Now, AIs surpass humans at most well-specified tasks relying on general knowledge, but there's a lot of local and specific knowledge that people build up from their personal experience. That kind of experience is going to be valuable, at least for a while, and is worth cultivating. That local knowledge from personal experience is the stuff that seems most obvious to you. Patterns you've picked up from being around certain people and places. The way you've learned to approach problems based on experience in your subfield. When to push through versus when to pivot. A lot of it probably feels like common sense, but it's not as common as you think. It lives in your head because you've lived through it. And just like my RL debugging tips, you probably don't know which pieces of your obvious knowledge are actually scarce and valuable. I don't always know either. 10 years from now, you might realize that something that seemed easy or obvious to you ended up solving an important problem or changing your field. Congratulations on earning your degrees and on starting your journey as experts.
Thank you, John, for an inspirational speech. Commencement is a proud day for graduates and their families, but it is also a proud moment for the University of California. The degrees conferred by the university are a testament to the high achievement of our students and to the fulfillment of the primary task of the university, which is to advance knowledge. Today's ceremony recognizes engineers who have earned a Doctor of Philosophy. Before we continue, I'd like to invite all of our graduates to take this time to express your appreciation to family and friends who have supported you in pursuing a graduate degree. If you can, please stand up and give them the most enthusiastic cheer. We know what a special day this is, and many of you will be taking photographs. This is a reminder to please keep the aisles clear in consideration for those seated. It is now time to grant our candidates their hard-earned degrees and to recognize each of them by name. Professor Kathy Yilick, UC Berkeley's Vice Chancellor for Research, will confer the degrees.
The doctoral degree is the highest academic degree awarded by a university upon completion of original research resulting in a major thesis that adds to the knowledge base of a discipline. We are delighted to recognize these candidates for their extraordinary achievements. Will the candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy degree please rise? As Vice Chancellor for Research at the University of California, Berkeley, I grant you the degree Doctor of Philosophy. Congratulations on your accomplishments, and please be seated.
In keeping with academic tradition, we will place the hood, signifying the doctoral degree, over the head of each candidate. The hood's dark blue velvet border represents the doctoral degree, and its blue and gold satin lining indicates that the degree is awarded by the University of California. Candidates will be introduced by their respective department chairs. They will come forward and be joined by their faculty advisor, who will present the hood. We will start with the candidates from the graduate group in Applied Science and Technology.
All right, now the candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from the graduate group in Applied Science and Technology are Jean-Paul Massieu, advised by Kevin Young and Brita Valley, and hooded by Kevin Young and Brita Valley. This way. All right. Mike Posop, advised by Jasmina Vujic, Terry Hott, and hooded by Jasmina Vujic. Aya Keller, advised and hooded by Carl Van Bieber. Chincha Lin, advised and hooded by Professor Lane Martin. Fan Hao Man, advised and hooded by me. We will now introduce our next round of PhD candidates from the Department of Bioengineering.
The candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Bioengineering are Oluwaseun Shakirat Adabite. Advised by Janine Lupo, hooded by me. Yasmin Graham, advised by Karanish Ganguly and hooded by Professor Ricky Mueller. Ana Gomez Martinez, advised and hooded by Professor Amy Herr. Karina Vivanco, advised and hooded by Professor Liana Leroux. Michael Howlin Herschel, advised by Professor Patrick Hsu, hooded by Professor Liana Leroux. Sitha Srinivasan Chandrasekaran, advised by Professor Patrick Hsu, hooded by Professor Liana Leroux. Tanner Michael Nichols, advised and hooded by Professor Daniel Vigneron. Eric Markley, advised and hooded by Professor Laura Waller. Abdul Muyeed Bouiya, advised by Professor Dan Fletcher, hooded by Professor Karen Nelson. Cameron Tadashi Kato, advised by Professor Irina Conboy, hooded by me. Charlene Pan, advised by Professor Adam Abate, advised and hooded by Harish Vasudevan. Colin Skinner, advised by Professor Irina Conboy and hooded by me. Jacob Roberts, advised by Professor Jay Kiesling, hooded by me. Nicholas Thomas Perry, advised by Professor Patrick Hsu, hooded by me. We will now introduce our next round of PhD candidates from the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering.
I'm proud to present to you the amazing candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering. Samuel Fernandez, advised by Raja Sengupta and Evan Variano, hooded by Evan Variano. Devetni Carlson, advised and hooded by Evan Variano. Alma Bartholow, advised by and hooded by Cara Nelson. Han Wang, advised by and hooded by Maria Laura de la Monique. Anne Shelliga, advised by and hooded by Cynthia Gerlin Softy. Matthew Victor Falcone, advised by and hooded by Mark Stacy. Alexandra Eric Sebastian George, advised by and hooded by Mark Stacy. Wilson Holland McNeil, advised by and hooded by Robert Harley and Corinne Scown. Minerva Prakash Telly, advised by Baoja Mi and Slav Hermanowitz and hooded by Baoja Mi. James Butler, advised by and hooded by Thomas Kirkstetter and Ling Jin. Ya Heng Yang, advised by and hooded by Tracy Becker. Hui Ya Pham, advised by and hooded by Tracy Becker. Crystal Churn, advised by Khalid Masalam and hooded by Tracy Becker. Eduardo Jose Montalto, advised by and hooded by Demetrius Konstantinidis. John Vouvakis Manusakis, advised by and hooded by Demetrius Konstantinidis. Parker Blunts, advised by and hooded by Demetrius Sekos. Claudio Perez, advised by Khalid Masalam and Philip Philippou and hooded by Philip Philippou. Fan Hu, advised by Khalid Masalam and hooded by Philip Philippou. Tian Chen Shu, advised by and hooded by Kenichi Soga. Yao Ben Yang, advised by and hooded by Kenichi Soga. Michael Vertusha, advised by and hooded by Kenichi Soga. Jaewon Sa, advised by and hooded by Kenichi Soga. Aisha Tuba Ozturk, advised by Scott Mora and Marta Gonzalez, hooded by Scott Mora. Jaiman Wu, advised by Marta Gonzalez and hooded by Scott Mora. Ray Tin Wong, advised by and hooded by Scott Mora. Junja Shi, advised by and hooded by Scott Mora. Mangying Ju, advised by and hooded by Susan Shaheen. Ziad Yassin, advised by and hooded by Susan Shaheen. Chinua Luo, advised by and hooded by me. Akshams Metin Nichols. Advised by and hooded by Susan Shaheen and me. We will now introduce our next round of candidates from the Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Sciences.
The candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Sciences are
Kei Yun Shen, advised by John Kuby and Ken Goldberg, and hooded by John Kuby.
Abraham Gonzalez, advised by Kirsty Asanovich, hooded by Kirsty Asanovich.
Vinesh Iyer, advised and hooded by Bora Nikolic.
Sushant Dinesh, advised by Christopher Fletcher, hooded by Christopher Fletcher.
Ji Hong Liu, advised by Scott Schenker and Sylvia Ratanmashi, and hooded by Scott Schenker.
Wen Zhang, advised by Scott Schenker, hooded by Scott Schenker.
Vivian Feng, advised by Raluca Popham and hooded by Scott Schenker.
Noel Unyang Davis, advised by Ali Javi, hooded by Ali Javi.
Daniel Clausen, Advised and hooded by Ming Wu.
Chu Tong Jin, advised by Clark Nguyen, hooded by Clark Nguyen.
Anikath Reedy, advised and hooded by Nila Yonitz.
Ruchir Rastogi, advised by Naila Yonidis and Nir Yosef, hooded by Naila Yonidis.
Shafiq Ibrahim, advised by Christopher Bouchard and Shenlei Liu, and hooded by Christophe Bouchard and Shenlei Liu.
Logan Horowitz, advised by Robert Palawa Podgorski and hooded by Robert Palawa Podgorski.
Rahu Iyer, hooded and advised by Robert Pilawa Popersky.
Milind Jagota, advised by Yun Song, hooded by Yun Song.
Sebastian Prigo, advised by Yu Song and Nir Yosef, hooded by Yong Song.
Zihao Chen, advised by Laurent Elgaoui, hooded by Yun Song.
Yu Xing Zai, advised and hooded by Yi Ma.
Haozhe Chi, advised by Jitendra Malik and Yi Ma, hooded by Yi Ma.
Nirja Agarwal, advised and hooded by Laura Waller.
Avaral Pandey, advised by Ricky Muller, hooded by Ricky Muller.
Pierre Bouillot, advised by Nir Yosef and Michael Jordan, hooded by Michael Jordan.
Anastasios Angelopoulos, advised by Michael Jordan and Jitendra Malik, hooded by Michael Jordan.
Eric Lee Zhao, advised by Nika Hatabab and Michael Jordan, and hooded by Nika Habajad and Michael Jordan.
Nived Rajaraman, advised by Jantao Zhao and Kanan Ramchandran, hooded by Nika Hagtalab.
Eric Wallace, advised by Dan Klein and Don Song, hooded by Dan Klein.
Nicholas Tomlin, advised by Dan Klein and hooded by Dan Klein.
Jesse Lin, advised by Dan Klein and Anka Dragan, and hooded by Dan Klein and Anka Dragan.
Jerry Ziyang He, advised by Anka Dragan, hooded by Anka Dragan.
Scott Emmons, advised by Stuart Russell, hooded by Anka Dragan.
Eric Jones, advised by Jacob Steinhardt and Anka Dragan, and hooded by Jacob Steinhardt and Anka Dragan.
Meena Jagandasan, advised and hooded by Michael Jordan and Jacob Steinhardt.
Ruichi Zhang, advised by Jacob Steinhardt and Dan Klein, and hooded by Jacob Steinhardt and Dan Klein.
Wahid Rahman, advised and hooded by Vladimir Stoyanovich.
Antroy Roy Chowdhury, advised by Vladimir Stoyanovich and Juntao Qian, and hooded by Vladimir Stoyanovich.
Eric Anderson, advised and hooded by Vladimir Stoyanovich.
Sehun Kim, advised by Kurt Koitzer, hooded by Kurt Koitzer.
Peter Shahafter, advised by Ion Stoica and Joey Gonzalez, and hooded by Ion Stoica and Joey Gonzalez.
Sifei Luan, Advised by Jan Stojka, hooded by Jan Stojka.
Wei Ling Ji Young, advised and hooded by Jan Stojka.
Lily Liu, advised by Alvin Chung and Jan Stojka, hooded by Alvin Chung and Jan Stojka.
Connor Power, advised by Joey Hellstrain and hooded by Alvin Cheng.
Shadaj Ladad, advised by Alvin Chung and Joseph Hellerstein and hooded by Alvin Chung.
Ji-Chun Chung, advised by Irene Shen and Kanan Rajamandan and hooded by Irene Shen. Gabrielle Colon Reyes, advised by Duncan Calloway and Claire Tomlin and hooded by Duncan Calloway and Claire Tomlin. Kevin Wu, advised by Avishai Tal and hooded by Avishai Tal.
Or Paradis, advised by Shafi Goldwasser and Avishai Tal, hooded by Shafi Goldwasser and Avishai Tal.
Anand Sitranja, advised by Claire Tomlin and Stuart Russell, hooded by Claire Tomlin. Kayleen Stocking, advised and hooded by Claire Tomlin. Jin-Chi Lee, advised and hooded by Claire Tomlin and Somaye Soduchi. Shinmay Maheshwani, advised and hooded by Shankar Sastry.
Victoria Tuck, advised by Shankar Shastri and Sanjit Seshia, hooded by Shankar Shastri and Sanjit Seshia.
Sheng Rong Yu, advised by Alberto Sangiovanni and hooded by Sanjit Seshia.
Federico Mora, advised by Sanjit Seshia and hooded by Sanjit Seshia.
Rahul Lau, advised and hooded by Michael Angwar and Ali Niklejad.
Kunmo Kim, advised by Ali Niknejad and hooded by Ali Niknejad.
Yi Quan Shen, advised and hooded by Ali Niknejad.
Hesham Beshari, advised by Ali Niknejad and hooded by Ali Niknejad. Shrisha Sridhara, advised by Jaijit Roy Chowdhury and hooded by Jaijit Roy Chowdhury.
Alicia Shu, advised and hooded by Bin Yu.
Hong Gao, advised by Anju Kanazawa and hooded by Anju Kanazawa.
Ray Long Lee, advised and hooded by Anju Kanazawa.
Ethan Weber, advised by Anju Kanazawa and hooded by Anju Kanazawa.
Xu Dong Wang, advised and hooded by Trevor Darrow.
Aloka Tripathi, advised by Catherine Yellick and Aidan Buluch and hooded by Catherine Yellick and Aidan Buluch.
Vivek Bharadwaja, advised by James Demo and Abdin Bullock, and hooded by Jim Demo and Abdin Bullock.
Peitong Duan, advised by Bjorn Hartman, hooded by Bjorn Hartman.
Shinmoy Sengoju, advised and hooded by Steve Colony.
Philip Wu, advised by Peter Abiel and hooded by Peter Abiel.
Juan, advised by Ken Goldberg and hooded by Peter Abil.
Fang Chen Liu, advised by Peter Abil, hooded by Peter Abil.
Amy Liu, advised and hooded by Peter Abil.
Wilson Yan, advised by Peter Abil and hooded by Peter Abil.
Pratik Brahma, advised and hooded by Saif Salahuddin.
Jong Ho Park, advised by Saif Salahuddin, hooded by Saif Salahuddin.
Ching Ting Tong, advised and hooded by Shengming Wu. Katie Ken, advised by Sergey Levine and Claire Tomlin, and hooded by Sergey Levine and Claire Tomlin. Devo Ghosh, advised and hooded by Sergey Levine.
Laura Smith, advised by Sergey Levine, hooded by Sergey Levine.
Norman Mu, advised by David Wagner and Trevor Darrow, hooded by David Wagner.
We will now introduce our next round of candidates from the Department of Industrial Engineering and Operations Research.
I am delighted to present the candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Industrial Engineering and Operations Research. Shin Yu Lee, advised by Shin Gu and hooded by Shin Gu. Baturalp Yalchin, advised by Javad Lavai, hooded by Javad Lavai. Dong Hao Ying, advised by Javad Lavai, hooded by Javad Lavai. Mangxi Gu, advised by Max Shen, hooded by Xie Zhang. Dilara Aikanat, advised by Zheyu Zhang, hooded by Zheyu Zhang. Hao Ting Zhang, advised by Zheyu Zhang and Rhonda Ryder, and hooded by Zheyu Zhang. Yunkai Zhang, advised by Zheyu Zhang and hooded by Zheyu Zhang. Anna Deza, advised by Alper Atamturk and hooded by Alper Atamturk. That would be me. Jisun Lee, advised by me and hooded by me. Lawrence Chen, advised by Ken Goldberg and hooded by me. Hoon-Ki Im, advised by Paul Grigas and hooded by me. Meng Li, advised by me and Paul Grigas and hooded by me. Shunang Jiang, advised by Max Shen and Park Sinchiasri, hooded by Park Sinchiasri. We will now introduce our next round of candidates from the Department of Materials Science and Engineering.
The candidates for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Material Science and Engineering are Han Min Hao, advised by Gibran Sider, hooded by Gibran Sider. Yuan Yong Choi, advised by Gibran Sider, hooded by Gibran Sider. Bowen Deng, advised by Gibran Sider, hooded by Gibran Sider. Mohammed Said Al-Hamid Diallo, advised by Gibran Sider, hooded by Gibran Sider. Xinye Zhao, advised by Gibran Sider, hooded by Gibran Sider. Sang-Hong Lee, advised by Anubhav Jain and Gibran Sider, hooded by Anubhav Jain and Gibran Sider. Ji Yong Kim, advised by Christine Pearson, hooded by Christine Pearson. Howard Lee, advised by Christine Pearson, hooded by Christine Pearson. Nathan Bieberdorf, advised by Mark Asta and Laurent Caponango, hooded by Mark Asta and Laurent Caponango. Erica Salzman, advised by Philip Messersmith, hooded by Philip Messersmith. Nivendina Sama, advised by Ahmad Omar, Philip Messersmith, hooded by Ahmad Omar and Messersmith. Jesse Schimpf, advised by Lane Martin, hooded by Lane Martin. Siying Lee, advised by Daryl Xiang, hooded by Daryl Xiang. Jiawei Wan, advised by Jaime Zheng and Mark Esta, hooded by Jaime Zheng and Mark Esta. Daewon Lee, advised by Jaime Zheng, Mark Esta, and hooded by Jaime Zheng and Mark Esta. We now introduce our next round of candidates from the Department of Mechanical Engineering.
The candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Mechanical Engineering are Chunran Lee, advised and hooded by Masayoshi Tomizuka. Xiang Zhang, advised and hooded by Masayoshi Tomizuka. Zheng Wu, advised and hooded by Masayoshi Tomizuka. Akio Kodera, advised and hooded by Masayoshi Tomizuka. Chun-Feng Xiu, advised and hooded by Masayoshi Tomizuka and Kurt Koitzer. I've just learned that that was Professor Tomazuka's 150th PhD student. And we're not done yet. Thomas Tian, advised and hooded by Masayoshi Tomazuka. Jose Omar Betancourt, advised and hooded by Tariq Zodi. Ho Te Lee, advised and hooded by Francesco Borelli. Jason Jang Ho Choi, advised and hooded by Kaushal Srinath and Claire Tomlin. Jongyua Lee, advised and hooded by Kaushal Srinath. Bai Yatung, advised and hooded by Somaya Sajudi. Ro Lin Lee, advised and hooded by Roberto Horowitz. Nikhil Potu Surya Prakash, advised and hooded by Roberto Horowitz. Teresa Eli Honain, advised and hooded by Oliver O'Reilly. Aaron Sanchez Archibek, advised and hooded by Grace O'Connell. Sarah Catherine Schonkweiler, advised by Sarah McMains and hooded by Grace O'Connell. David Jani, advised by Daryl Jean and Panos Papadopoulos, hooded by Daryl Jean. Hao Yun Tang, advised and hooded by Mark Mueller. Christina Livaretu, advised by Michael Golner and Carlos Fernandez Peyo, hooded by Carlos Fernandez Peyo. Spencer Pierce Alliston, advised and hooded by Chris Staines. That's me. Andrew McPherson, advised and hooded by Hannah Stewart. Wilson Osvaldo Torres, advised and hooded by Hannah Stewart. Jeongpyo Lee, advised and hooded by Hannah Stewart. Aaron Chang, advised and hooded by Hannah Stewart. Zheching Jin, advised by Grace Gu and hooded by Hannah Stewart. Fan Xia, advised by Li Wei Lin and hooded by Hannah Stewart. Maria Inez Echeverria Molina, advised and hooded by Kyriakos Konvopoulos. Numi Sveinson Sepero, advised by Sean Shadden and hooded by me. We will now introduce our next round of candidates from the Department of Nuclear Engineering.
The candidates for the degree Doctor of Philosophy from the Department of Nuclear Engineering are Chai Pedetti, advised and tutored by Professor Peter Hosman. Christopher Rees, advised and tutored by Professor Peter Hosman. Joshua Stackhouse, advised and tutored by Carl Schroeder. Ether Jackson, advised and tutored by Professor Carl Van Bieber. Alex Droster, advised and tutored by Professor Carl Van Bieber. Haley Williams, advised and tutored by Professor Raluca Scarlett. Ludovic Janssen, advised and tutored by Massimiliano Frattoni, and I guess that's me. Zach Miller, advised and tutored by me. Tatiana Sierra Ferras, advised and tutored by me. Matthew Verley, advised and tutored by Professor Kai Vedder. Tyler Jordan, advised and tutored by Professor Kai Vetter. Robin Peter, advised and tutored by Professor Kai Vetter and Yango Seo.
Okay. Well, to all of our distinguished Doctor of Philosophy graduates from across the college, we congratulate you. We wish you the very best as you begin the next phase of your journey as Berkeley engineers. You are now and forever Berkeley engineers and graduates of the finest public university in the nation and one of the top engineering schools in the world. Remember this year's at Berkeley with fondness and be proud. This concludes our doctoral commencement ceremony. After you leave Zerlerbach Hall, we invite you outside to Sproul Plaza to the large pavilion tent for a reception hosted by the College of Engineering. We ask that guests remain seated as our PhD graduates exit first. Members of the audience can meet the newly minted Doctors of Philosophy outside in the plaza. Best wishes to our graduates. Fiat Lux and go Bears!